Your new best friend.
Who I actually like, even though everyone hates him. Oh, this guy's on the phone. This guy is... First of all, this guy, Mark, is the writer of the movie The Cell, not the director, guys. Detail. Mark.
Hello.
Hey, bro.
Hi, how you doing, Howard?
This guy, there's a movie coming out called The Cell. If you were watching...
Friday?
Yeah, if you were watching Survivor last night, they ran commercials for it. I've seen it. I got to tell you something. It's one of the best movies I ever saw.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear you
love
say that.
In your entire life of movies.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
I was riveted. I could not... You know how you have to get up to pee sometimes?
Yes.
Couldn't get up to...
Couldn't do it, man. I didn't want to miss a minute of this thing. It's trippy. The director was excellent, Mark.
Yeah, he's a really amazing guy.
And I'm not... this guy's not an advertiser of mine. I'm just saying it because I get behind a good film. I think...
I appreciate that, Howard. I really do.
It's wonderful, man. It's kind of...
How did we get a hold of him?
Mark's a fan. And he heard
I was listening to the show yesterday morning, and I heard Howard talking about it. And I said, I've got to call up. One, because I just wanted to thank him. And two, because Ralph was, as usual, full of misinformation.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it took you 3 years to even sell the movie, right?
Well, the thing is, I originally wrote the script about 5 years ago, and it languished at another studio for about 3 years. They
let me
weren't
tell you,
doing anything with it.
I bet you it was a difficult script to sort of relate what it is you wanted on the screen. That's how trippy the movie is. Like
I don't think this is one of those things you could pitch and you had to write the script, right?
Oh, absolutely.
When I was watching, I didn't know anything about the film. The first thing I guessed was that the guy had done some Nine Inch Nails video, the director, because it looked very familiar.
Yeah, I mean, actually, he's a friend of the guy. The guy who did the Nine Inch Nails video is Mark Romanic. And all these guys kind of know each other.
Right.
Tarsem, the director, has only done 2 music videos. He's real picky about videos. He did the REM Losing My Religion video.
Right.
And he did he did a video for this group called Deep Forest, which is sort of this ambient thing. But he's huge in TV commercials.
That's what, I read that, and then Ralph calls in with all this stuff about Nine Inch Nails and everything, that he'd only done a couple of videos, but he mostly did commercials.
He mostly does, in Europe, where he does a lot of European commercials where he has a lot more freedom to do
whatever he wants.
You chose the director. It wasn't Jennifer Lopez's project.
Jennifer Lopez only became involved with the project about right before the movie went into production. But what she did do was she was very enthusiastic about the script before we even got a director. She said to New Line, the studio that eventually did do the movie, and they were amazing because as soon as they picked up the script and turnaround, they said, "We're making this movie."
Yeah, it's a good movie, man. It really is good. It's
I'm
just a
so
lot
happy to hear you say that.
It's like a Hannibal Lecter, Silence of the Lambs, and I don't know, like Matrix is how they're advertising it, and it is kind of like a little bit of both.
Right. Right.
It's just cool. It's just a fun
I'm just
movie.
so happy it turned out to be such a unique movie.
And I was really disturbed after it because some of the images in the movie are very disturbing.
Yeah.
I don't know how you write a thing like that and convey it to a director, but you did a great job.
We actually worked pretty close. I mean, the script was always that story.
Hey, did you bang Jennifer Lopez at all?
No, I'm afraid I did not have that great privilege.
I have a theory.
Did you have any contact with her at all?
She was...
That sounds like a no. You know what it is a lot of times in the movie? The writer usually is not even on the set that much. They kind of like blow up the writer, and to me the writer's the most important guy.
I'm so happy to hear you say that, but actually...
It's a writer's medium.
Yeah, a lot of times writers lose their babies.
Yep, they do.
But this was actually... I'm spoiled forever because the director and I got along so well from the very first few days we met.
What is he, an Indian?
He's Indian, yeah.
A lot of these guys. A lot of these Indians are coming up.
I know.
Howard?
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, but the year at the MTV Awards, this was the Indian guy that kept coming up on stage with REM. I think he was wearing like a turban or something.
Yeah, he's like a real Indian.
He came up on a magic carpet.
Yeah. He's like a real Indian. Like I think he wears sandals and a turban, and the guy's...
He had on a long neighbor jacket and like a turban.
What's his name?
Tarsem.
He rides a cow.
He only wears... He doesn't wear that kind of stuff every day.
Really?
Yeah.
He rides a cow, I'm telling you.
They really ride cows in India.
Yeah, this guy does.
No,
this guy's hardcore.
They carry the cow.
He directs from a cow.
Oh, God.
Carry the cow in India.
Yeah. Jennifer Lopez, man. I have a theory on Jennifer Lopez.
What is your theory?
She was pretty nice to me.
I think she doesn't want to be with Puff Daddy. I think she can't get away.
You think she's a captive?
Not a captive in the sense that he's holding her against her will, but I think that...
Like one of those attractions you can't break, like addiction?
Well, yeah, and when she tries to... This is my guess. She does not... She looks like a prisoner every time she's standing next to him. I just feel like she's afraid or something. I don't know. But that's my vibe. I met Puff Daddy. He seemed like a pretty okay guy, but then you read about him...
You know, like I've met him, and he seems so...
quiet.
Not threatening.
Yeah.
I know that... I know that they were, involved during the whole production, and occasionally you might overhear some volatile phone calls between them.
Really?
Yeah.
But on the whole, she was great to me. So,
right.
And I was there almost every day on the set.
Was he banging her during the movie, Puff Daddy?
Boy, don't ask me, Howard.
He wouldn't come down and do her in the trailer?
He was around a couple of times, if I remember correctly. I never saw him, but that's what I heard.
Is this the first movie script you sold to Hollywood?
This was the first one I sold.
How old a guy are you?
I'm 38.
Yeah, and what did you do before you were, writing scripts?
I moved out to L.A. from Chicago when I was about 25.
Right.
And, with no money, and a beat-to-crap Ford Escort with about $900 in my pocket.
Right.
And actually, it's funny because... we have a strange connection because the guy whose house I stayed at, Peter Teschner, was the editor of Private Parts.
Yeah, I know Peter.
He works with Betty all the time.
Right, yeah, good guy.
And so I was sleeping on his couch. And
was everyone telling you to give up? And you
of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, but how do you even wind up on Peter's couch? I mean, what was your connection?
We went to college together.
I see.
And were you broke and everything? I mean,
oh, completely.
Were you writing professionally in any other way?
No, I had actually. Well, no, not really.
Wow, good for you, dude. You're going to be writing now plenty of movies. You got any other movies in the can?
Not in the. I did a little work on I was one of the writers on this movie coming out in a while called Imposter, which is another science fiction thing. The other thing that came close was about 2 years ago, a movie almost got made that got me a lot of attention in Hollywood. A script called I Am Legend that Ridley Scott and Arnold Schwarzenegger were going to do.
And you wrote that?
Yeah.
Wow. So you were almost always getting the movie done, and then you couldn't get it done, and then finally The Cell got made after 3 years. So your family probably thought you were a loser, right?
Well, the thing is that I did a lot of work in when I moved out to Hollywood. I worked as a reader. And, when you work for other producers and you're reading other people's scripts, and then I worked as a development.
Write a good script?
Oh, absolutely.
And where'd you
probably were reading all those other scripts going, I can do better than this.
And
Robin, that happened almost every day.
Where'd you get the idea that, the basic premise of the movie is that if someone's in a coma, that they have an internal life going on, their mind is still operational, so Jennifer Lopez goes into their minds. Where did that come from? You got some medical background or something?
I think somebody I was talking to the other day described me as a frustrated psychiatrist.
Yeah, it's a very psychiatric kind of movie.
Well, isn't that her character? She's like...
Yeah, well, the movie blames the parents for, all the problems and all that stuff, which, I believe is always the case.
Well,
I think there's...
True.
Well, I mean, you can find, if you looked at a handful of serial killers, some of them would have horrible traumatic backgrounds. I think probably most of them would. But then you have some guys, supposedly Jeffrey Dahmer had some, a very normal upbringing.
Right,
yeah.
So you never know.
He just wasn't normal.
He just whacked out. He's biochemical.
Yeah, well, but the thing was, even though he was having this normal childhood, he was still going off and killing animals.
Right, exactly, and they never knew about that.
Well, I guess you're going to get off Peter's couch now. They got the movie made.
I think I'm doing okay.
So when they buy the script from you, because I never understand all this, the way I understand this in my limited ability, New Line buys the script from you, right?
Well, New Line bought it. Originally, the script sold to MGM.
Right.
And it just sat there because they weren't doing anything with it.
Big mistake.
For about 3 years. And they were having such financial trouble at the time.
Right. So then they decide, I do all this work for them. They want, they start thinking, we're going to make all these big changes in the script, and I do all that work that I really don't agree with. And the next thing I know, I get a fax saying that they're, not continuing with the project. But luckily, because there was no producer,
involved at the beginning of the project, the project came back to my control as the writer, and so I had been talking to New Line about something else, and they picked it up. They bought it from MGM virtually the next day.
How'd they get that?
And the head of New Line is this great guy, Mike DeLuca.
Yeah, I know Mike.
And the next day, I had a meeting with them and Donna Langley, who's the other executive at New Line, and they were just fully committed to the project, and they were saying, we're going to keep you involved every step of the way.
What was the budget on the movie? I bet you it wasn't a big budget.
Oh, it was, I think it was around, oh, God, it changed, and I'm terrible at remembering these things. I think it was around actually about $60 million.
60?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't realize it was that expensive.
There were some pretty elaborate sets built.
Wow. It's a pretty amazing looking film.
Yeah.
I'm so happy with the way it turned out.
Oh, please, you should be. It's brilliant. Yeah.
You know, it's a funny thing. I was talking to this guy yesterday, so, I'm asking him where he lives, and he goes, well, I'm on the East Coast now. And I said, where? And he goes, I live on the Cape. And I'm like, oh, where? And he says, Provincetown. So immediately in my mind, I'm like, oh, he's gay. So, of course, the next sentence he has to go, yeah, I live there with my girlfriend. And then we had that whole conversation, how you have to say that right after you say
Better declare right away.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're straight, right?
I'm probably like one of, a dozen straight men in Providence.
You're a minority.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm thinking of buying a house on Fire Island.
It's so great. You had to get that in almost immediately.
Yeah, right.
My girlfriend and I are getting a house on Fire Island.
Yeah, and she has a vagina.
He's got a funny line. He goes, yeah, my girlfriend and I live up there. Yeah, in fact, I used to be married once as well.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I'm real hetero.
I banged my first girl when I was 16.
Now, wait a minute. You were married before?
Yeah, I was.
With all these pipe dreams, your wife must have wanted to kill you.
Yeah, no wonder she left you.
Does she have access to, does she have claims on any future earnings?
No. You divorced her a while ago, right?
No, actually, it just happened last year.
Oh!
Couldn't afford it.
Howard, actually, I've got to tell you something. When I separated from my wife, right when you started talking about yours, at the time, and it helped me a lot, man.
Really?
Yeah.
I know, it's an epidemic out there.
Oh, my God.
So this is Mark Protosevich.
Right.
Who is the writer of The Cell, which is a movie I recommend you see this weekend. I was lucky enough to see it, and I'm going to go see it again.
Probably can't get in to see it.
Yeah, it's good.
That'd be great, Robin, if that happened.
The only criticism I had of the whole movie was that Jennifer Lopez wears too much lip gloss every time she's, like, all beaten up and stuff.
Well,
lip gloss never got.
Well, she looks all dolled up.
And her hair is always looking really
it's always perfect, She's getting a little too nervous about how she looks in every scene, I think.
Whose idea was that?
Nah, that's her busting balls on this. I look at a movie, I know exactly what goes on. She sat in that makeup shop. No, I have to look good.
I really respect actresses who can forget all of that by the time they're making a movie and just do it.
No, she's a glamour puss in every scene, but she does a nice job.
She did a great job.
The guy who plays the evil villain, what's his name again?
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Oh,
amazing actor.
He's real good.
He's an amazing actor.
He's really good.
The guy who goes crazy after basic training.
Yeah, he's very cool in the movie.
Oh, he's wonderful.
And the other guy,
a great guy.
And Vince Vaughn's real good too.
Yeah, he was terrific.
Yeah. Anyway, hey Mark, man, I just wanted to congratulate you because it's always interesting to see a guy who was, he's 38 years old. He finally got his first movie made.
He kept at it.
Absolutely.
Perseverance. And don't let this be a lesson to all of you, because you know what? A lot of people persevere and they bomb out.
But they don't have any talent.
Exactly.
They're persevering with no talent.
And don't go by this guy's example. He's just one of the few that had some talent. Mark, great script, man.
Thanks, Howard. It
great
means a lot to me. I'm a big fan of the show.
I can't wait to see it.
All right, later, bro.
Okay.
All right, that's Mark Protosevich. Protosevich.
What kind of name is that?
Pollock. What do you think? What the hell else could it be?